Only 20% of people who set goals actually reach them. And let's face it, most of us start the year full of excitement about our goals, but then something happens to sabotage them. Maybe something occurs that distracts us, or perhaps we just can't seem to find the time to work on them. Or we set too many unrealistic goals and we get overwhelmed. Whatever the reason, before you know it, your goals slide into oblivion. Hi, I'm Gil Jervis. Welcome to Life After 65. Join me in this video series, The Tiny Habits Transformation. I will show you how you and I can become that minority of people who succeed at our goals through one simple method. Fortunately, this method does not mean that I must try harder, or I must be more disciplined, or I must work smarter. But before I tell you this simple method, we should first cover the importance of creating goals that aren't too vague. We do this by applying the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T, to each one of our goals. You've probably heard of this before. Goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, let me share some examples of vague goals and how we can turn them into SMART goals, because this is the first step, only the first step of succeeding at our goals. Let's say this year I am going to get healthier. What does that look like to you? Does that look like you're going to eat better, or you're going to exercise more? We could turn it into a SMART goal. I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes, 5 days a week for 3 months. Now, let's look at some more vague goals. Oh, this year, my goal is to declutter my home. Well, once again, this statement's too vague. It doesn't identify which areas you're going to focus on or what level of decluttering you desire. Let's face it, each one of us have different ideas of what decluttering my home should look like. If you decide you are a minimalist, you are going to get rid of far more things than some of us. Or you might just want to unclutter everything that doesn't fit with your current lifestyle. Another goal that's more specific. Rather than saying I'm going to unclutter my kitchen, you're going to say I'm going to declutter my kitchen by removing unused appliances and reorganizing my pantry. Or what if you said I'm going to unclutter my bedroom? Well, what does that look like? Perhaps it's I'm going to organize my bedroom wardrobe closet so that I have nothing in there that I can't wear. In other words, you are getting rid of everything that doesn't fit or is worn out. Another vague goal, I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm going to see more of my adult children and my grandchildren. Well, once again, this lacks a plan or details about how you're going to achieve it. A SMART goal might be, I'm going to have a family dinner. I'm going to host a family dinner together every Sunday evening, and whoever can come will come. This year, I'm going to be more productive. You might say, since I've retired, I've just been lazy around too much. I need to be more productive. Well, what does that look like? Productivity can be perceived as way different contexts. Perhaps all you want to do is create a specific goal that says, you know what, I'm going to just create a daily to-do list and complete 3 tasks before noon. And how many of us who have retired say, you know what, my goal is to travel more? Well, once again, this lacks details about destinations, timing, and planning. A more specific goal might be, this year, I'm going to plan and book a trip to Paris by June of next year. Since I've retired, you might say, oh, I have just been waiting to retire so that I could just sit back outside and read more books. But that's actually a vague goal. You didn't say how many books, or when you're going to read your books, or what types of books perhaps you're going to read. You might make a specific goal by saying, I'm going to read 1 book each month, not for the next 6 months. See how you make out, just shorten the goal. But even though making SMART goals is essential when we create goals, pay attention to this. They still have not increased the success rate of people following through on our goals. Well, why is that? Because there's an assumption that just because we clarify our goals, we will now stick to the plan. But let's be honest. How many times have you even set a SMART goal, and yet after just a month or two, you end up quitting? We get busy. We get distracted. Our motivation might fade. And soon, that SMART goal feels more like a weight pulling you down. Before you know it, We just set it aside. No SMART goal can help us with those problems that get in the way of reaching our goals. For example, you might set a SMART goal, but it could be unrealistic. You have to set a doable goal. For example, if you suddenly said, I am going to exercise 1 hour every day this year, that's actually quite a leap if you haven't begun exercising even 30 minutes every day or even 15 minutes every day. When we try to change too much at once, it's like building a house on sand. It crumbles quickly. SMART goals also relies on our constant motivation. And yet, for most of us, motivation is like the weather. It changes day by day. One day I'm pumped and excited to follow through on my new goals. Another day, I think I worked out too hard yesterday. I feel exhausted. I don't think I'm going to do anything. SMART goals don't account for those dips in energy or enthusiasm. I mean, how many times have you begun enthusiastically to work out an hour for 1 week, and before you know it, by next week, you're like, oh, my muscles are so tired. I'm so stiff. I think I'm just going to let it go for now. And before you know it, each day it goes until the goal disappears. SMART goals also don't help those of us who are perfectionists. If you have missed following through on one of your goals for 1 week or maybe even 2 weeks, how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel guilty? You can't believe you stopped doing them? Do you start feeling like, oh, I'm just a failure, why bother? How do SMART goals help us when we perfectionists have an all or nothing mindset that derails the best of intentions? So here's the question. If SMART goals aren't enough, there's still a tremendous essential framework, but they aren't enough for us to follow through on our goals. What's the alternative? Well, the answer actually is quite beautiful and simple. It stems from this one fact. Even though motivation is not reliable, our daily routines are reliable. Every day I get out of my bed. Every day I brush my teeth. Every day I shower. I have breakfast, lunch, and supper. Those routines actually don't rely upon my willpower or my motivation. I just do them. They're automatic, they're daily. Okay, even if you're traveling, those routines don't change, do they? You still get out of bed, you still shower, you still brush your teeth, no matter what country you're in. And it's the simple fact that will be a game changer when you begin creating your goals. It's a simple method that BJ Fogg explains in his book, Tiny Habits. And I tell you, it is a game changer. Goals are no longer massive leaps that just set us up for failure. The next few episodes, I will be explaining how we can create very doable physical goals, very doable emotional well-being goals, and even cognitive goals to keep our brain sharp. So join me in the next video when I go into detail how we can make smart and successful physical goals. And by the way, click on subscribe and notify so that you always get great content, and you'll make sure that you do get this next episode. For those of us who are over 65 and retired, yes, we still can make goals, but we have to be smart about it. But actually, this method works for every age. See you next episode.